Good morning, Pantsers. It's Tuesday. Nella, it's so good to see you back. I am with you on the sort of overwhelmingness of even small tasks. I understand that as a concept extremely well. That's something I deal with all the time. And I am sorry that you are dealing with it. It sucks. I also am with you on having brain issues and completely forgetting books that you've read. I'm in there too. In fact, I literally just read an entire series of books that I thought I had only read the first couple of books in the series, and it turns out I read all of them, and I don't remember the last 3 of them at all. The only reason that I know that I read them is because there is one single very small incident in the last book that I remember that I thought was in book 3 and turned out to be in book 6. That's the only way I know that I read book 6, which I otherwise don't remember anything about. There are whole periods of my life where I have read books that I don't remember at all. Some of them I kind of remember the fact that I read the book. I kind of remember having read it, but I don't remember anything about it. It's not great. Kind of causes a problem when you're trying to figure out what you've read and haven't read, but I mean, then you get to read it again as if it were the first time, I guess. Silver lining. I'm glad that you're interested in Marie. If you get around to reading her, whenever, let me know, because I find that I'm very interested in talking about her because I don't really know why. I don't really know. I just found her interesting, as a person, as a diarist, as kind of a popular figure. Figular is not a word. Marie's diary is kind of interesting because it was heavily censored and bowdlerized by her family after her death. Her family published it a few years after her death, but they went through and they cut out all the parts that they didn't think were flattering to the family, and they also weirdly they changed her age. And I have read that it suggested that they did that because they wanted to make her seem more of a prodigy, they wanted to make her seem younger so that she would seem more impressive, which they didn't really need to do. But also I think it has to do with the fact that her mother was pregnant when her parents got married, and they even lied to Marie about her age for a long time during her lifetime. So I think they probably changed it also for that, to make it seem like there was no possibility of that being a thing. And in fact, they didn't even provide the actual manuscript of Marie's diary. They copied out their own version, essentially, of the diary and provided that to the publisher. So that's one reason that this particular version that I have is kind of the best one to read, because it was translated by somebody who actually went back to Marie's actual manuscript diaries and translated from there, as opposed to from the manuscript that was provided by the family. But Marie's kind of interesting in a weird way as a literary figure, because in sort of around the turn of the century, she was extremely popular as a diarist. Her diary became very, very famous, and she was read by everyone, especially teenage girls, but in the same way that Anne Frank's diary in the 50s became, just hugely famous, Marie's diary was hugely famous in its time period, which Marie would have been very excited about, although I think she would not have been so excited about the censoring that her family did. You mentioned tuberculosis as a societal kind of thing, and Marie does actually mention a couple of times, she mentions things about this kind of perception of tuberculosis as a romantic death kind of thing. She only mentions it in passing. She doesn't have whole big sections where she's musing about it or anything, but I thought that was interesting, especially because she goes for such a long time without being diagnosed, because she keeps going to doctors and they keep telling her, oh no, of course you don't have tuberculosis, you have laryngitis, or you just have a bad cold, or you have all of these things that we can fix, and this goes on for a decade. I keep talking about Marie like a lot. I keep making these videos where I'm talking about Marie Bashkirtseff stuff. Sometimes I think it would be really fun to do like sort of book video kind of things, like talk about the books that I'm reading, but the problem is that I don't actually have any desire to like do any kind of actual like real review or report or anything like that about the book. I just kind of want to talk about it like this. Like I just want to sort of talk about random stuff about the books I'm reading, but I would never be able to do it on any kind of like regular schedule or like, you know, any kind of like real actual functional review. Like some kind of real booktuber. Basically, I just wanted to talk about the things that I think are interesting, but then like that's not going to be interesting to other people. Oh, I was going to talk about the instant messaging question. I don't currently really use any like instant messenger in particular because I mean I don't really talk to anybody. I think on my phone currently I have a Signal and Telegram, and my phone's an Android phone, so like I must have Google Hangouts on it somewhere, although I haven't actually checked, but it must be on there because all of the Google stuff comes on it. And I that might be it. But yeah, like I don't have a particular preference, so whatever is the easiest for everybody. So, okay, I think that is all of the things. I love you all very much, and I will see you next week. Don't forget to be awesome.